Good evening and welcome to the Town Board of the Town of Austin regular meeting for Tuesday, February 8th, 2022. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then please remain standing for a moment of silence in memory of Ariston Garando, an EMT for the Austin Volunteer Ambulance Corps, as well as Cortland and Peekskill Vax, who tragically passed over the weekend. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Sad to lose our young ones. Okay.
Councilmember Feldman.
Present.
Okay. Councilmember Manicchio.
Here.
I think Councilmember Meyer.
Present.
And Supervisor Levenberg.
I am here.
Okay. We have our public hearing today on local law to amend chapter 47 of the town code, residency requirements with respect to town constable position.
All right, so first on our agenda, as mentioned, we have this public hearing on our second local law of 2022, which formally aligns the residency requirements for the position of town constable with those set in our code for court attendants. Since we often seek to hire individuals who can serve in both titles, this seemed like a common sense change to our local code. Councilor Donna, anything to add before we open it up to the public?
No, I mean, that's pretty much the reason the board, excuse me, adopted a local law in 2020 with respect to the town court attendants for specifically this purpose. It still requires that the person holding the position be a resident of the state of New York, and if not from the town of Austin, then from Westchester or one of the adjoining counties. There are also similar provisions on the books for the positions of building inspector and justice court clerks.
Right. And with that, we will open it up to if anybody has any comments for our public hearing on the constable local law. If you are interested in addressing the town board for this public hearing, please raise your virtual hand and we will recognize you. Going once, twice. All righty, well, I say hearing none, I would ask for a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All
And there
right,
is actually a resolution on the board's agenda for this evening if the board is so inclined to adopt the local law.
and I'm guessing we will be so inclined, so we will see it in a little bit. And with that, I'm going to move into some announcements. I hope you will join me in suiting up for the 5th annual Galata House Escape from Sing Sing Polar Plunge scheduled for Saturday, February 12th at 11 a.m. Visit galatahouse.org to donate, sponsor a plunger like me, or register. Right now, the weather forecast is predicting a balmy 50 degrees or so. I don't know, maybe we should reschedule for a colder day. What do you guys think? The proceeds from this very, very cool annual event support Westchester County families in need and scholarships for high school students. This Saturday, February 12th at 2 p.m., the Austin Public Library will be hosting a special screening of Amend, a docu-series that highlights the fight for equal rights in America through the lens of the U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment. Robbie or Robe Imbriano, one of the producers of the series, sorry if I'm mispronouncing, will join Austin Village historian Joyce Sharrock Cole in conversation at the special screening. What a great way to learn and reflect during Black History Month. If you cannot join in the screening on Saturday, there are many other events scheduled right here in Austin during this important month to celebrate the contributions of Black Americans. We have a dedicated page as part of my supervisor's update and on the town website of ways to celebrate Black History Month. If there are any events or programs we are missing, please do send them our way so we can share with the community. Today, Tuesday, February 8th, is Child Tax Credit and Earned Income Tax Credit Day of Action. Thank you to the Biden administration for sharing this important day of action with our office and other units of local government across the country through their Intergovernmental Affairs Office. The Child Tax Credit and Earned Income Tax Credit are large tax refund payments that people can receive when they file a tax return. The 2021 American Rescue Plan expanded who can receive these payments and increased the amount of money available to many families and individuals. For families with kids, the 2021 child tax credit is $3,000 to $3,600 per child based on their age. And this year, for the first time, the earned income tax credit can be worth up to $1,500 for some workers without children at home, nearly triple what the credit was in 2020. Most people need to file a tax return before April 18th, 2022 to receive their full payment this year. We know many families are still struggling financially as we recover from the pandemic, so please do make sure to file your taxes soon to get the full benefit you deserve. If you need assistance, visit www.childtaxcredit.gov. We also have more income tax related content scheduled for our social media channels this week, so keep your eyes peeled for additional assistance available to our community during this critical income tax filing period. The Austin Youth Bureau is seeking local grandpas to mentor youth ages 7 to 18. In addition to mentoring, participating grandpas have an opportunity to build a support system for themselves, share stories of their experiences, and give back to the local community in a dynamic and creative way. For more information, call 914-260-4211 or email grandpasunited@villageofaustin.org. Tomorrow night, Wednesday, February 9th, the Austin Youth Bureau the Austin Youth Advisory Board will be holding an information session at 6 p.m. via Zoom. We have posted the Zoom information on our other government updates page if you're interested in learning more about our local youth development programs and getting involved. And are there any other announcements from my board colleagues? Okay, no, I think no. Okay. I'm going to offer a few administrative updates. We received some very exciting news yesterday. The town of Austin has once again received Tree City designation by the Arbor Day Foundation. 2021 will be our 22nd year receiving this designation, and we are so proud of our efforts to care for our most precious natural resources year in and year out. This year, we were able to include as part of our application the introduction of the Austin Town Parks Habitat Stewards program, which in its first year helped restore part of the natural habitat at Ryder Park by the pond. We look forward to growing this program in the years to come. Huge shout out to Mitzi Elks and our Environmental Advisory Committee for serving as our tree board and always advocating for these important initiatives. As many of you know, okay, and that was it for that, sorry. Next topic. As many of you know, Town Councilwoman Gabby Hamilton had to resign her post very early in the year for health reasons. The town board solicited letters of interest to fill the remainder of this 1 year of the 4-year term, which the position carries. We received 12 letters, 6 of which were from residents of unincorporated Austin. The board had an opportunity to meet with these 6 from unincorporated area, and we will share the next steps soon. Thank you for your patience this weekend as we navigated a full update to our town email system. The transition is still in process, and we hope it will be fully complete sometime this week. If you sent us an email and haven't heard back, Please do follow up, as your message may have slipped through the virtual cracks during the upgrade. We are hopeful our new email system will help prevent outages in the future and be more resilient against cyber attacks. At the end of January, I met with Highway Superintendent Pete Connolly, Recreation Superintendent Bill Garrison, Parks Foreman Mario Velardo, Water Superintendent Andy Teese, Town Engineer Paul Fraioli, Comptroller Dale Brennan, Deputy Comptroller Liz Nakari, and the wonderful Budget Officer Victoria Taffarelli to discuss our capital projects planning for 2022. We closely reviewed the adopted 2022 capital plan and started to determine priorities for the year. This is still not set in stone, but in our parks, we are hoping to prioritize new fencing at our ball fields, upgraded LED field lights at Gerlach Park, relocating the Engle Park Comfort Station, as well as a few other smaller projects and equipment purchases. Some of these are grant funded, or at least partially grant funded. For the highway department, it seems our greatest needs are to replace a few aging pieces of equipment and possibly some roofing repairs. Following this meeting, we asked our department heads to pull together more concrete budget numbers so plans for financing can be presented to the town board for approval in the coming weeks. Much more to come on this, but we wanted to give the board and the public a taste of what is on our plates for 2022. Are there any questions, my board colleagues? Seeing none, we will dive into liaison reports. Is there any of my colleagues have any liaison reports to share? Is that Councilman Minichio? You're going to share a liaison report?
Yeah, I sat in with the rec advisory board the last 2 months, and it seems like they have a great opportunity in front of them with the grant money that was given to the village of Ossining to try to work on that improvement of the community center. So it looks like they're on board. They're meeting with Bill Garrison, walking through and coming up with the best ideas that can suit our community. So we're making progress there.
Fantastic. Awesome. And that's with the backdrop of our senior nutrition program. Kitchen is also going to be getting rehabbed. And so hopefully there's going to be a lot of great activity going on in that building to make it really a state-of-the-art building for our residents and friends to enjoy. And certainly our children and seniors. Awesome. Okay, thank you so much for that. Are there any other liaison reports? I know the state, I'm just going to throw this out there because we have Councilman Meyer on I think the assembly met, had some public hearings on the state, but on the governor's budget last week. I think that Senate and the Westchester delegation is having some meetings coming up this week. So if anybody's interested in attending or, just wanting to hear more about the governor's budget, do you happen to have any of those dates?
Yeah, I'm just pulling it up right now. One is on Thursday from 2 to 5, and it's virtual. So if anybody's interested, they could talk to their local assembly member or senator's office, and I'm sure they could get them the info for that.
All right, fantastic. And that's Senator Elijah Reichman-Melnick for those of us in Ossining. Awesome, thank you so much. And so next up, I think we're going into our departmental report, and we have our wonderful Honorable Holly Perlowitz with us this evening, our tax receiver, who is fresh off the latest deadline for tax collection, specifically for the second half of school taxes, with a departmental report, which will also include other details besides just the school taxes. Turning it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Yes, we are fresh off of the second half of school tax collection, which went very well. Victoria's going to share something, but I just wanted to also say that we actually finished on January 31st, 2022, actually at midnight, thanks to our online system. And I'm very happy to say yet again, we've had another increase in use. We had about 1,200 people pay online, which is about 30% of those people who pay on their own. Remember, we have people who pay via escrow and people who pay on their own. So I'm very delighted. I like to see it, creep up. creep up, and people, I say to them, you can actually pay up until the evening of January 31st, and people do take advantage of that. Okay, thus far, we've collected, 96.9% of our total school tax warrant, as you can see there. And we've collected 99.4% of our town and county warrant, which is an important fact to note as well. So overall, for our 2021 tax warrants, we've collected 97.4%. And, tax payments sprinkle in all the time, and I should say come in all the time. And I expect that they will continue to. We send out delinquent notices, and that usually brings a flurry of payments in. Just a little bit more about the collection. I think it went very smoothly, even though we had some bad weather here and there. We were working in what we call our satellite office, which is in the clerk's office. And at this point, we were shoulder to shoulder with our village colleagues who were also collecting their first half of village taxes, as well as our clerk's office. And I have to say that it's quite the team, and we really helped each other out, and I felt things went enormously smoothly. So I'm thankful to the clerk's office, Sue and Martha and Maggie, Janet, and to all of my village colleagues as well. I think we all did very well together. I also wanted to just bring up, I don't know if you can see it, but down at the delinquent tax liens, we continue to chip away every month. This is my kind of personal goal. Every month I like to see some level of liens being paid off, and they are. And you can see as you go further and further back that we have fewer and fewer properties back in the earlier years. And we have just today, I just requested tax searches on 11 properties, which are possible to go to foreclosure. Typically, what happens with those is we request the title reports, and there's communication with the taxpayers involved, and often it brings it to a resolution. I also want to mention that at this point in time, we have 8 payment plans that we're working on and are working. They are all working, and I think we all feel very good about that. So with that, if there aren't any questions, I'd like to say probably something that is good to say about one's tax office and one's municipality. Things are calm and things are moving along as they should, and things are okay. So if there aren't any questions, I will
I'll just open it up and see if any of my colleagues on the town board have any questions. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for all your hard work and for making people actually like paying their taxes. Well, okay, maybe we won't go that far, but they certainly get very positive reception. Thank you for your money. Yes, from your office. We're always very grateful for people pitching in for the greater good, and it is a big deal. We understand that, and we're grateful for people who pay on time, and even for people who pay late. You did remind me that I did neglect to include one little detail in my administrative report, which is that we have had a successful setup, and it's not complete yet, but we're close. We're adding a couple of administrative cubicles into the McKinley room so that our assessor's office can have a place on the first floor, because the elevator in the building is broken and they're up on the 3rd floor. So similar to the way that the receiver has had a satellite office in the clerk's office, we're now also going to have, and we have had actually one of our staff from the assessor's office working in that satellite office after tax collections were, I mean, tax collections are never finished, but the deadline came and went. So we are going to be moving a couple of our staff into the McKinley room. We're still, so that we can just have our forward facing departments accessible to the public and compliant, ADA compliant, while we wait for the big fix. That's not an expression for the fix is in, it's the big fix of the elevator, hopefully in the not too distant future, but it's distant enough that we needed to make these accommodations. So we're grateful to the village for having worked with us on that. I think that is it then. And thank you again, Honorable Perlowitz. We appreciate your report. And again, your very upbeat attitude about collecting taxes. So with that, I think we can move into our resolutions. Turn it over to Martha.
Sure.
First,
Public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I skipped over public comment. I'm sorry.
Public comment agenda items.
Yes, very, very important. Okay, so we have an opportunity for public comment on agenda items only. So anything that we're going to be voting on this evening. So if you have any comment on any of the agenda items and you would like to raise your virtual hand, I do know that we have somebody in from the public in the attendees box over there. So if you are interested in commenting on any of the resolutions, please raise your virtual hand. And seeing no hands raised, we can now move into our resolutions.
Okay. Approval of minutes, reorganizational and regular meeting, January 11th, 2022. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austin hereby approves the January 11th, 2022 minutes of the reorganizational and regular meeting as presented.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Okay, approval of minutes, special meeting, January 18th, 2022. Result of the town board of the town of Austin hereby approves the January 18th, 2022 minutes of the special meeting as presented.
Do you have a motion?
So moved. Councilwoman Feldman, I think you're on mute.
Ah, that's why. That'd be helpful.
Aha, thank you.
Okay, I was thinking that weren't hearing another country from another country. Okay, okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second for the minutes?
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. Yes, you go. Thank you, town board. You guys, we're going to get through this. So we have a few sets of minutes that we are adopting tonight, some of which we had adopted already, but there were a few minor errors that were not noticed in the first drafts. So we're correcting those tonight. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, moving along.
Approval of minutes, regular meeting, January 25th, 2022. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austin hereby approves the January 25th, 2022 minutes of the regular meeting as presented.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Approval of voucher detail report. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austin hereby approves the voucher detail report dated February 8th, 2022 in the amount of $173,202.07 for 2021 and $283,005.87 for 2022 for a grand total of $456,207.94.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
So we are still operating in 2 years, making sure all of our payments due from 2021 are accounted for and starting the new year. Questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed?
Resolution local law number 1 of 2022, increase real property tax exemption available to veterans. Whereas state law permits taxing jurisdictions to provide for certain levels of real property tax exemptions to different categories of eligible veterans. And whereas the town currently does not offer certain real property tax exemptions and does not provide for other tax exemptions at the highest possible level. And whereas the town board values and appreciates the service of veterans and desire to provide them with the greatest opportunity for real property tax exemptions available under state law. And whereas the town board held a duly noticed public hearing at its regular meeting on Tuesday, January 25th, 2022 via video conferencing in accordance with Chapter 1 of the laws of 2022 of the state of New York, and members of the public having the opportunity to attend and be heard, the public hearing was closed on January 25th, 2022. And whereas a short environmental assessment form, Part 1, was prepared pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQRA, and whereas said local law has been at the desks of the members of the town board of the town of Austin for at least 7 days, exclusive of Sunday, prior to the adoption of this resolution. And now therefore be it resolved, the town board hereby determines this action is not subject to SEQRA, as it will not affect the environment, but to the extent it has been determined that this action may affect the environment, the town board adopts a negative declaration determining this action does not have the potential to have any significant adverse environmental impact, as the state legislator has already authorized these exemptions, and the town assessor provided a fiscal analysis to demonstrate that while the potential benefits to eligible town veterans could be substantial, the offset to other town residents would be minimal. And be it further resolved, the town board, after due deliberation, finds that it is by the best interest of the town to adopt said local law, and the town board adopts local law number 1 of 2022 entitled Amendments to Chapter 180 Taxation of the Town Code to increase the real property tax exemption available to veterans. And be it further resolved, the town clerk is directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting into the local law book for the town of Austin, to publish said minutes in a newspaper published in the town, if any, or in such newspaper published in the county in which such town may be located, having circulation in such town. And affidavits of said publication shall be filed with the town clerk, and to file a copy of said local law with the Secretary of State of New York.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And I am very proud that our first local law of the year will be something that will be benefiting our veterans who deserve it, no matter what. We will provide, this new local law will provide additional relief to our deserving veterans with a limited impact to the rest of the community, as mentioned. We thank our assessor, Fernando Gonzalez, for bringing this issue to our attention. And I think we have to vote since it's a local law.
Roll call.
Roll call. Yeah.
Okay. Councilmember Feldman,
Aye.
Councilmember Manikio,
Aye.
Councilmember Meyer,
Aye.
Supervisor Lovenberg.
An enthusiastic aye.
Resolution local law number 2 of 2022, residency requirements for town constable. Whereas due to the stringent qualification requirements established by Westchester County for the court attendant position, the town has found it difficult to find qualified individuals for this position who reside within the town of Austin. And whereas as a result, the town board amended the town code in 2020 to expand the permitted residency for the court attendant position beyond the town of Austin in order to ensure the town can hire qualified individuals to serve in this important position to protect the justice court staff and members of the public visiting the justice court. And whereas for personal consistency and efficiency, the town desires to hire individuals to serve in the town council position who can and do also serve in the court attendant position. And whereas the town board held a duly noticed public hearing at its regular meeting on Tuesday, February 8th, 2022, via video conferencing in accordance with Chapter 1 of the laws of 2022 in the state of New York, and members of the public having the opportunity to attend and be heard, the public hearing was closed on February 8th, 2022. And whereas a short environmental assessment for Part 1 was prepared pursuant to the State Environmental Review Act, SEQRA, and whereas the said local law has been on the desks of the members of the town board of the town of Austin for at least 7 days, exclusive of Sunday, prior to the adoption of this resolution. Now therefore be resolved, the town board hereby determines this action is not subject to SEQRA and will not affect the environment, but to the extent it has been determined that this action may affect the environment, the town board adopts a negative declaration determining this action does not have the potential to have any significant adverse environmental impacts, as this action will improve the environment by ensuring the town can hire qualified individuals to protect the justice court staffs and members of the public visiting the justice court. And be it further resolved, the town board, after due deliberation, finds that it is the best interest of the town to adopt said local law, and the town board hereby adopts local law number 2 of 2022 entitled Amendment to Chapter 47 of the Town Code with respect to town constable residency. And be it further resolved, The town clerk is directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting into the local law book for the town of Austining, to publish said minutes in a newspaper published in the town, if any, or in such newspaper published in the county in which such town may be located, having a circulation in such town. And affidavits of said publication shall be filed with the town clerk, and to file a copy of said local law with the Secretary of State of New York.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, so as I shared earlier this evening, this new local law will make it clear going forward that the new residency requirements for constable and
Or clerk, justice court.
Court attendant.
And court attendant.
Right.
court attendant, thank you, and court attendant will enable the town to draw on its existing personnel to serve this important function. Sorry about that. Okay, I think I cut off a word on my page. So thank you very much for considering this. All those in favor? Oh, we got to do the
Roll call.
roll call again. Roll call. Okay, roll call.
Okay, Councilmember Feldman,
Aye.
Councilmember Manicchio,
Aye.
Councilmember Meyer,
Aye.
Supervisor Levenberg.
Aye.
Martha, are you good? Do you want me to jump in on a resolution?
Sure, do you want to read this one? Thank you, because
I
there's a
know
whole
there
lot more.
are a lot.
Thank you.
No problem. So we're up to Resolution G, 2022 Cabaret License, Meyer Riviera Bar and Restaurant. Whereas Meyer Riviera Bar and Restaurant, 518 North State Road, Briarcliff Manor, the applicant has filed an application for a cabaret license for the calendar year 2022. And whereas in 2018, the town board authorized the applicant to play amplified music until 1 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays on a provisional basis. And in 2020, the town board also authorized the applicant to play amplified music until 1 a.m. on Sundays through Thursdays on a provisional basis. And whereas the applicant again requests to be able to play amplified music every night until 1 a.m. every night. And whereas the town board is authorized under Chapter 68 of the Town Code, Section 6820B, to extend hours a cabaret may play amplified music beyond what is permitted in the code where it deems it appropriate and consistent with the public safety and welfare. And whereas the town board has reviewed the 2022 application and attachments thereto, and has solicited input from involved departments, including the police department and buildings department, both of which recommended granting the application. And whereas the town board held a duly noticed public hearing in its regular meeting on Tuesday, January 5th, 2022 via video conferencing in accordance with Chapter 1 of the laws of 2022 of the state of New York, at which time no members of the public appeared to speak on the application, and the public hearing was closed on January 25th, 2022. And whereas based upon the record before the board on this application, the board wishes to and determines that it is appropriate to allow the applicant to continue to play amplified music until 1 a.m. for the calendar year 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Austining hereby approves the application of Meyer Riviera Bar and Restaurant, 518 North State Road, Briarcliff Manor in the unincorporated area of the town of Austining for a cabaret license for the calendar year 2022, subject to the following limitations and conditions. 1, the music played on site will consist only of a mariachi band consisting of 5 to 3 members using guitars, trumpets, drums, and or other mariachi band instruments, or B, a DJ using karaoke machine. 2, amplified music shall be allowed every day of the week from 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. Be it further resolved, the town board finds that based upon the lack of complaints from the public or the town's departments and the positive role the applicant's establishment plays in the community, that is appropriate and consistent with the public safety and welfare to allow the applicant to play amplified music until 1 a.m., but reserves the right to revisit this determination in subsequent years and make any modifications to the hours during which amplified music is permitted that the town board deems necessary based upon the circumstances presented at that time. And be it further resolved, the conditions on this cabaret license are only for the 2022 calendar year, and the town board reserves the right to modify, add to, and or eliminate any and all conditions when considering the applicant's application for a cabaret license renewal for the 2023 calendar year in accordance with Chapter 68 of the Town Code.
Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? I would just like to say that having read this yourself, Council Donna, maybe you could consider writing shorter resolutions. Just joking. It was We're very glad to see that our local businesses are getting back to some normalcy with their operations, and Maya Riviera has come before the board with their 2022 request. So happy to have it, and happy to be able to approve it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Okay. Thank you, Christy. Finance Ambulance District Budget Amendment, whereas in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Austin Volunteer Ambulance Corps, OVAC, established a community paramedicine program to provide additional healthcare services to residents in the town of Austin and Westchester County as a whole, including COVID-19 testing and vaccinations. Whereas OVAC provides these services free of charge with funding coming from various sources, including New York State and the town of Austin via an appropriation of $50,000 from Ambulance District Fund balance in November 2021 for COVID-19 molecular test kits. And whereas during the month of December 2021 and January 2022, the Austin community and the surrounding New York metropolitan area experienced a sharp increase in COVID-19 cases as a result of the Omicron variant, and OVAC administered nearly 6,000 tests to the community during this time period alone. And whereas as a result of the exponential increase in demand for COVID-19 tests in the late fall and winter of 2021 to 2022, the $50,000 appropriation from the town was expended faster than anticipated. And whereas the town board recognizes that free molecular testing provided by OVAC continues to be essential to the Austin community's response to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas the town's ambulance district fund currently has a $83,431.94 in fund balance accumulated at 2021 year end. And whereas the town wishes to transfer $30,000 from the ambulance district fund balance to the contractual services expenditure account for payment of up to $30,000 of costs incurred by the Austin Volunteer Ambulance District for COVID-19 testing and supplies, so molecular tests can continue to be provided to members of the community at no charge. Now therefore be it resolved, the revenue and the expenditures accounts are amended as follows.
We're just going to allow that to be something that you can all find online. Okay, so do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
As discussed at our last work session, we are allocating an additional $30,000 from the ambulance district fund balance to support the community testing operations at OVAC. This free testing offering has been a critical aspect of our community's COVID-19 response and serves as a model to communities near and far for how to ensure everyone can access free and easy testing opportunities in this pandemic. Thank you so much to Chief Franzoso for all of your hard work and your department, of course. We very much appreciate it. And in good news, we are hopeful to recoup some of this money through the FEMA COVID funds. And if so, then we will replenish the fund balance. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? I can't see why. Thank you.
Okay, personnel assistant automotive mechanic, resolved that the town board of the town of Austin hereby appoints Alan Sanchez Austin to the probationary position of assistant automotive mechanic in the town highway department at a prorated annual salary of $65,323 effective February 14th, 2022.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
So we are very pleased to be appointing Alan Sanchez, an OHS grad and resident of the unincorporated town, to the assistant auto mechanic position starting this Monday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. What a happy day to start. Gary Cesari left some very large shoes to fill, so hopefully Alan and Chuck as a pair will be able to get close to doing so. Welcome, Alan. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Great.
Okay, call for public support for immediate action by New York State. Oh, my apologies. Contract removal of snow and ice from county roads. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austin authorizes the supervisor to sign First Amendment to Agreement number 15-958 with Westchester County for the removal of snow and ice from county roads.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
So it has come to our attention that the town board neglected to approve the snow and ice agreement with the county in 2018. Sometimes these things do get lost in email. This agreement actually, or in regular mail even, this agreement actually ensures the county pays the town for the snow and ice removal on county roads. So it's very important that we get this signed so we can get the money that we are owed. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed?
Okay, Call for public support for immediate action by New York State to repair defective conditions and design and execute safety enhancements to Route 9A in the town of Boston and passage of New York State Senate Bill S2988 and New York State Assembly Bill A11126. Whereas the town board of the town of Boston, in its capacity to represent the best interests of all the residents of the community and protect the non-residents who pass through our community, recognize the unsafe conditions existing on the portions of New York State Route 9A within the town of Boston. And whereas the town board mourns those who have lost their lives or have been seriously injured traveling this dangerous stretch of roadway, including recent accidents that have occurred at the intersection of Route 9A and 134 in the town of Boston. And whereas the mayor and board of trustees of the village of Barcliff Manor, which are largely located within the town of Boston, through earlier mailings and emails have documented the dangerous conditions and design defects of Route 9A, which have led to loss of life, damage to property, and a strain on municipal emergency services. And the town board thanks the village of Barcliff for their efforts to document these conditions and advocate for improvements. And now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby issues the resolution to the governor of the state of New York, the commissioner of the New York State Department of Transportation, and the Westchester County Executive as further evidence of the town's concern and steadfast determination to improve these defective conditions, and strongly express the town board's continuing alarm of the obsolete design and ongoing deterioration of Route 9A, together with the concomitant accidents and tragedies. And be it further resolved that the town board does hereby urge and formally request that immediate plans be made to design, cost to execute safety enhancements and effective appropriate traveling conditions at Route 9A, and the priority be given for immediate determined action. And be it further resolved that the town board fully supports New York State Senate Bill S2988, co-sponsored by Senators Peter Hackerman and Elijah Reichel Malik, and Assembly Bill A11126, sponsored by Assemblywoman Sandra Gallup, authorizing the New York State Department of Transportation to conduct a study pertaining to proposed improvements on Route 9A in the towns of Austining and Mount Pleasant. And be it further resolved, the town board directs town staff to send copies of this resolution to state and county elected officials, urging their support of the legislation.
Motion?
So moved.
Angelo, can you second, please? Sorry. Councilman.
I
Minish.
can.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you. Okay, so our colleagues on the Village of Briarcliff Board of Trustees adopted a similar resolution recently, and we thank them for their advocacy on this important issue. The condition of 9A is a critical issue in the town of Austining, and I have also been advocating to New York State DOT and our state legislators to seek grant funding to remediate some of the safety and flooding resilience issues along this roadway. We will forward this resolution to our legislators and New York State DOT, so hopefully this roadway can be improved soon. I do think that there's the money for the resolution. It's for a design and engineering study. So with that, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions?
Abstain, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
give me 1 second. Okay. Resolution authorizing demolition of the Reuben House in Cedar Lane Park. Whereas the Reuben House is located in Cedar Lane Park and has been uninhabited for many years. And whereas in addition to being an eyesore, the Reuben House also presents a safety hazard as the building inspector has deemed it uninhabitable, but yet individuals have trespassed in the structure. And whereas the town has been advised that to use the structure for anything but a residential purpose, which would not be conducive to its location in Cedar Lane Park, would require an entire rebuild, which is cost prohibited without grant funding that the town has not been able to obtain. And whereas a short environmental assessment form, part 1, was prepared pursuant to State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQRA, for the purpose of demolition of the Reuben House. And whereas the town can perform the demolition with its own staff in order to reduce the cost approximately $15,000. And be resolved, the town board hereby adopts a negative declaration pursuant to SEQRA, determining this action does not have the potential to have any significant adverse environmental impacts, as the structure no longer serves a functional purpose, is a hazard to town staff and park patrons, is a drain of municipal resources. And be it further resolved, the town board hereby authorizes the funding of the demolition Reuben House, with the remaining $5,000 from the town's 2018 capital project being exhausted first, and the remainder of the cost coming from the town's operating budget. And be it further resolved, all applicable town staff and consultants shall coordinate in preparing for, notifying the public of, and executing the demolition using best practices to ensure the demolition is conducted in a safe manner and that there are no hazards to town staff or the public. And be it further resolved, to the extent practicable, the town shall preserve the stone foundation and chimneys for potential future development park use.
Motion.
So moved with regret.
With regret.
Second.
So we are very sorry to be having to adopt this resolution tonight. But unfortunately, we have reached the point where we have to approve the demolition of the Reuben House at Cedar Lane Park. As the resolution states, the house is in severe state of disrepair, and we have been unsuccessful at securing funding to renovate or rebuild the house. We also brought in our building experts, including a restoration architect and our building inspector, who advised that if we wanted to use the house as anything other than a residential home, it would require an extensive rebuild anyway. And even if it were to be used as a residential home, it would, due to certain codes and requirements for public buildings, not to mention its advanced state of disrepair. The restoration architect also advised that the most historically significant parts of the structure are the stone foundation and chimney. The town remediated the house for asbestos a few years ago, and we asked our planner, Valerie Monastra, with Nelson Pope Voorhees, to complete a short environmental assessment form to ensure that we are being cognizant of environmental concerns as well prior to demolition. We hope that there will be a bright future ahead for the site of the former Reuben House. But until that can happen, we do unfortunately need to move forward with this demolition and the resolution for the demolition. We're planning to complete demolition hopefully within the month of February, before the park gets busy again in the spring and our community gardeners get their seeds in the ground. Are there any questions or comments or discussion? It is sad. I'll say that. And it was actually one of the first things that I looked into when I started as town supervisor. And even then, 6 years ago, it was really beyond repair. We really did bring in experts, and they told us that that was the situation. So after looking for grant money and all this stuff that I mentioned, we have to give in to the inevitable. All those in favor with regret?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Thank you.
Okay, monthly reports. Resolved that the town board of the town of Boston hereby accepts the following monthly reports for the month of January 2022. Dale Cemetery, Town Highway Department, GE Helicopter, Tax Receiver, Town Clerk, and Supervisor's Office.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we are now up to a visitor recognition on any topic whatsoever. And I need to just move my screen over so you can see what's happening with our public. Is there anybody who would like to be recognized on any topic whatsoever? I know that we have somebody in our public this evening. If you would like to be recognized and address the board, please raise your virtual hand. Okay. Well, in that case, could I have a motion to adjourn for advice of counsel, personnel, and pending litigation?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you for joining us. We will be back next week with a town hall meeting on Tuesday, February 15th, 2022 via Zoom. Are we still via Zoom? February 15th, did it end before next week?
The governor, so the way it works is
Oh,
that
right.
as long as the state of emergency is in effect, the deadline, the 30 days that would have to renew the state of emergency is around the 14th or the 15th, but so
Okay, we're just going to assume that it's going
during
to
that.
for right now. Okay, so via Zoom. The topic of our town hall meeting will be the newly released draft of the comprehensive plan. Our consultants from WXY Studios will join us for an overview presentation of the plan and discussion of next steps. If you want to do some homework before the meeting, the draft plan is now available on the project website at www.sustainableaustining.com. And remember, at town hall meetings, we do invite members of the public to comment and ask questions, deviating from our normal work session process. We look forward to a very wonderful discussion and hope you will join us. Have a great night, everybody. See you next week.